Jeff,
Becca.
are you ready to talk about one of your favorite movies?
Yeah. I think so.
All right, let's do it then.
Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome to the Close-Knit Cinema Podcast. Jeff and I are siblings who love to talk about movies, and on this show, we take turns discussing some of our favorite movies. So today, we are talking about one of Jeff's favorite movies. And that movie, Jeff, what is that movie?
We're talking about Gattaca. Gattaca today.
Gattaca, yes. We are talking about the 1997 film Gattaca.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Starring Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, and Jude Law. And it was written and directed by Andrew Niccol.
Andrew Niccol, yep.
Yeah. So, to give a brief summary of Gattaca. Gattaca follows Vincent, a man born without genetic enhancements in a society that discriminates based on DNA. Determined to become an astronaut, he assumes the identity of a genetically superior man, Jerome, to infiltrate the elite space agency, Gattaca. As a murder investigation threatens to expose him, Vincent's perseverance challenges the idea that genetics defines a person's potential.
Yeah. I mean, that says it all, really.
It really does. It was a pretty thorough description.
Yeah. My head is all over the place right now, but it just occurred to me. It's a little strange, that the space agency or whatever he's working for is called Gattaca, and Gattaca is it's the I don't know. It's the proteins that make up DNA, Gattaca. That's the protein sequencing or whatever. So it's why would the space agency care to name themselves that? The movie, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I thought that I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into the science because I will get it wrong. But reading about it, I thought it was something about the letters of Gattaca, but not the whole sequence.
Well, no, I mean there's just
a G and a T and a C
for the parts of DNA. Those are parts of it. But it's so I'm well, why is the space agency called that? That has nothing to do with what they. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that is totally unrelated.
Yes. Maybe we'll touch on that again later, though. So, to start off, Jeff, where does this fall on your favorites?
I won't get too specific. It's on the lower end, actually.
Okay.
I don't even think it's in the top 10.
Oh, okay.
So, because I have a top 20, I can get out of that a little bit, but it's relatively low.
Okay. And why is this one of your favorite movies?
That is a great question.
The big question.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I was watching the movie last night and thinking back on some of the other movies we talked about, there's actually a lot less in terms of I'm not as familiar with the director. I'm not as familiar with the score. Mm-hmm. I'm not as familiar with, other things. It's not the most quotable movie for me personally.
Yeah.
Yet it is one of my favorites. And I'm kind of surprised this movie came out in 97 because I would have been pretty young. And I feel like I was introduced to this movie as an early teenager, which is past 97. My recollection is this is another one of those movies that someone older in the family, maybe Jess and Will or something like that, they rented the movie.
Right.
And it was just, I saw bits and pieces. I was a little intrigued. And then as I got older, I eventually just watched it on my own and, fell in love with it. And it's oh yeah, this is super cool. But I think one of my most vivid memories of this movie is actually interesting because I had a biology teacher in high school, and apparently this was common. I've read about other people experiencing this, but we were talking about genetics and biology, and for a really easy day for our teacher, she was just like, I'm going to show you this movie. And we're going to watch it for a class. It might have been like an end of year thing. I don't remember, but I remember distinctly there was a girl sitting in front of me who was a little more sensitive to PG-13 content. And I remember I was like, I have your back. I'll let you know when to like close your eyes. Like I knew about
this one.
I knew when Ethan Hawke's butt is on the screen. I knew when that was going to happen. So I was familiar enough with it in high school to be like that guy. But the other thing that was really interesting to me is that my teacher, it was so weird. She just like completely misunderstood the twist ending of the movie, if you can call it a twist ending. So hear me out.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I remember I knew the movie well enough, but I was like almost convinced that she knew something I didn't. But now that I've gotten older, I'm like, she just fundamentally, I don't think, knew what was going on. She was convinced that the doctor who, administers like the blood tests and everything else, at the end, it's revealed that he's known that he's an invalid the entire time, basically.
Yep.
But he's let it slide. And we're led to believe it's because he kind of sees it as inspiring because he has a son who's not everything they had hoped for in terms of engineering him genetically. But anyway, that's the reveal, right? Is that, oh, this guy's known the whole time.
He knows and he lets him through. Yeah.
My teacher was like, that's his dad.
What?
Yeah, like that's Vincent's dad. He's been there the whole time and he didn't know.
Oh my gosh.
Right? That doesn't make any sense.
Clearly not the same man. So.
Yeah, we met his dad. We saw what he looked like. And I don't know. That's what my recollection was, is that she just completely missed that. But it was cool that she showed it regardless. Yes. But man, where do I start with this movie? Like, this movie has aged so well.
It really has.
So well. And the production, like in the production they took this approach to try and make it as timeless as possible, and it shows, right? Rather than trying to look forward and come up with like styles and things like that for clothing and cars and stuff like that that doesn't exist, they said, no, let's go the other direction and just pretend like, if this is in the future, hypothetically, the 20s are in now. I think it's 20s. That's what it looks like. Everyone's kind of dressed in this very muted colors. Yeah, like some people are literally wearing top hats. Not top hats, but they're wearing hats.
Like bowler hats. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Not full on bowler, but
bowlers.
There's some people wearing gray fedoras and suits. And
that's the one.
It feels like the 20s to me, but that works really well. And they don't take any huge swings, and the little things that they do actually work perfectly, like the electric cars. They don't look out of place at all.
Yep.
Almost 30 years later, they look about right. They plug them in when they park. They sound oddly familiar too, which is weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, the movie's timeless. It looks great. Hasn't aged at all. I can't even think any visual effects or anything. The movie's pretty.
Yeah, it doesn't really have any visual effects.
You see rockets firing off in the background. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about the extent of it.
Yeah. Everything's pretty, like, the tech is all low key. Like, the best you can point out is like some of the computer screens are a little like lo-fi, but yeah, but that's it. Like, yeah. Anyway, so I love that about the movie. I always enjoy a movie that just like throws you into a scenario and doesn't immediately give you all of the details of what is happening. And this movie, you're just like thrown in. You see this guy who just like, he's creating these little finger blood pockets. What's that all about? He's going in and he's doing all these weird things, and you just, up front, you have no idea what's going on. That's really intriguing to me. And there's a lot of
It-
movies that
yeah.
I love that are like that. Eventually, it obviously clues you in. But because of all those little details and the things that you learn after the fact, this movie's great on a rewatch. There's like added depth to a lot of scenes. It's really fun to watch Vincent's brother, who we later find out in the movie has been one of the detectives the whole time.
Yeah.
It's really fun to watch him and the things that he does. And
Yeah.
he is deliberately like, basically he's guiding the investigation to
Yes.
try and
get it away
Yes.
from his brother.
yeah.
Yep.
Like, and so you see that.
Mm-hmm.
So on a rewatch, that's really fun. And then like the science fiction in this movie is amazing. Like, let me just read a little list here of like concepts that are introduced in this movie. And it's crazy. First of all, and I don't know if these are original to this movie, but it was first time for me, basically. Being able to tell everything about a person's health and how they're going to die based off of a simple blood test done at birth.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wild thought. No face ID, no touch ID. Instead, they have like blood ID.
Yep.
So they're like pricking their finger every time they go
Yeah.
into Gattaca to identify themselves. You touched on this in the summary, but it's like discrimination based on the quality of your genetics rather than like a class or ethnicity. I guess the social class is like based off of your genetics entirely.
Yep.
And then that gets into like the idea of like, instead of Facebook stalking in this world,
Yeah.
it's like she goes to there's these places where you can just like say, hey, I have a thing that's like a thing of hair or saliva on my lips from kissing a guy.
Tell me about him.
Tell me about him.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because what stuck out to me is that like that rating system, however it works for your genetics, that's how you qualify whether you're going to date a person, probably.
Yeah. They're
You know.
like, oh, they're only I don't know what numbers they use.
Right.
Yeah, like
and
they're
it-
only a 5.
And I mean, it's like an exaggerated version of some of the things I think we do in society still. Like there are people who I think consider, like, oh, what's the mental health history of this individual's
Yeah.
family and those kinds of things. It's like an extreme version
Yes.
of that, right?
Yep.
And then like the idea of like this illegal sect of people that they refer to them as a borrowed ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Such a fun set of terminology. There's a ton of great terminology in this movie. Genoism, which is just like discrimination against people based on genetics. Like,
Yeah.
that's a fun one. But borrowed ladder, genetic fraud, where you piggyback off of another person who became crippled unexpectedly, but otherwise had great genetics. And then all of the things that go into that with like, the blood samples in the fingertips, always having urine samples available because they do them so often, scraping off as much body matter as possible before you go out so you don't leave DNA samples everywhere, but then also taking a little bottle of your counterpart's DNA
Yeah, leaving
it
Yeah.
intentionally so it's like believable. And then contact lenses, you can't do surgery because that would show up, they check for that. Height surgery, which that's probably a real thing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you'd think they would check for contact lenses as well, which I mean I guess they kind of do.
Well, he has to take them out
for that one moment.
They
yeah,
were taking
the cops
yeah.
were looking for lenses, but like at his job they don't. So
And then learning to fake a signature with your non-dominant hand just so that you can fit the part and all that stuff, which is ultimately what the doctor catches that he's going to the bathroom holding it with his left instead of his right, which is hilarious. But yeah, like there's so many interesting things going on in this movie. It just so happens that like it's not the music as much for me. It's not the quotes as much for me as some other movies are. I'm not I don't know as much about the making of this movie as other movies,
Yeah.
but like my heavens. What a powerhouse in terms of just science fiction generally. And it does have like great performances from Ethan Hawke and Jude Law. Yeah, there's so much to like about this movie. And it strangely feels educational in a lot of ways too. It feels like I'm just being taught something, and it feels real. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, I'm not watching a film that's fiction. I'm watching something that's real.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's so much.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And as far as you're concerned, like, I take it you like this movie, having known you for a long time.
Yes. Yep. I do like this movie. I don't remember how it was introduced to me. It was probably you. I don't know, because again, like you said, the time of when it was released doesn't really line up with our age. But
right, we were really young.
Yeah, but somehow this movie came about, and we watched it pretty regularly. But that being said, it is in my top 20.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I have like a loose top 20, but it's in there. So I do really enjoy it. Agree with like everything you said about it, but I was trying to think like, what is it about this movie? Because kind of like what you were saying, it's not one of those movies where I'm super familiar with the director and even the actors in it. I'm not like huge fan of them. Like, not that they're bad. It's just they're not like my favorite actors.
Maybe save Jude Law.
Maybe. But for some reason, like, this movie draws me in. Yeah. And I kind of like kept coming back to the thought that I really like how simple the movie is for a sci-fi film. Like, it's really grounded for a sci-fi film, like, or realistic, like you were saying. It feels real. Yeah. Because I think the scientific concepts in it are very intriguing, but they're also like believable and easy to understand at the same time. And I think I really appreciate that, because you know, there's a lot of sci-fi movies where they do these complex, mind-bending ideas that make you like really spin your wheels, and those are great too. But this one, it's like so interesting while being grounded. Yeah, totally. And I know it's a little bit slow, which might be hard for some people to enjoy because it is a slower movie. Yeah. But it gives us a lot of exposition through narration. Yeah. And I actually appreciate that.
The narration is very present throughout the whole thing, and you do get that sense that, okay, this is Vincent's story. He's telling the whole thing.
Yeah. And it's like, even though it is flat out exposition, I think it works really well.
It's a very like dialogue driven movie, or I guess monologue narrative. Like this is a movie that's a lot of talking. I mean, it has a couple of like kind of tense scenes, but they're not really action scenes. It is not an action movie by any means. It's more of a drama, honestly, if you really think about it.
No, I agree. But yeah, I like how it paints the picture of a futuristic society where genetic discrimination exists. And like I said, the simplicity, not only with it being a more grounded sci-fi movie in terms of the concepts and the science that's in it. I also think that I like how it's simple with the like you touched on this, the settings, like, and the CGI, lack of CGI.
They're shooting on
the costuming, like all of it is so simple, but like not in a bad way. Like, I really like it.
This was a lot more common back then. I mean, because of limitations, but like they would go and scout for places that were just like, I think in Europe or something like that, US audiences are just not familiar with that place, and then they shoot them in such a way that you're just seeing the weirdest part of that thing.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a real place, it's just,
which is interesting because I think reading about this one, like in the trivia, it touches on a lot of, like, there wasn't a whole lot of trivia. I don't know if you thought the same thing, but the trivia I read, there was a lot about just filming locations. Like, oh, this was actually this building here and this building here. But they were actually in the U.S.
Oh, they were in the U.S. Okay.
A lot of them.
Because I know in some of the 80s movies, they would go film in like Mexico or something like that. And there would just be weird architecture there that we're not used to seeing.
Yeah.
And so you could use it as a futuristic place, even though it's not.
But yeah, it has a specific look to it that goes with that simplicity. I like that everything is clean and like cut. It's like got a clean cut, crisp feeling to it. And I feel like they do this thing with color. Like there's a lot of cooler tones and sometimes like a greenish hue. I don't know. There's a lot of like that I appreciate because of how simple it is. It's still like, wow, like this just works.
And it looks different. It has its own feel.
Yes, it does have its own feel.
Despite being relatively tame, it has its own signature look.
Yes, I agree. So we've touched on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Just by nature of what the movie is, but what do you think the movie's trying to say?
So I'll say this up front because I think it's worth mentioning that this is not a subtle movie.
No.
This is not a subtle movie in any way, which is why it kind of feels educational. It feels like it's just kind of, it's almost just preaching something to me a little bit.
Presenting an idea to you.
But like my personal take, like there's two things. There's the tagline. I don't know if you're familiar with the tagline for the movie.
Yes.
It's pretty like...
Yep, I do.
The tagline is, there is no gene for the human spirit.
Yep.
Right?
I forgot about that.
And then they say in the movie, he says in the narration, I think, there is no gene for fate. There's all these things where it's like, they're so fixated on genetics and, being genetically superior and all that stuff. But there are things that just you can't control in that world. And it's funny that they bring up the human spirit. Like, when I hear that, I start thinking religious thoughts, frankly. I don't know if that's what the movie was going for necessarily. I think it's more when they say spirit, it's like the drive, the ambition of a human being. But my personal take is it's like, I personally believe that there is a spiritual element that is beyond, who we physically are as a person. And I think that's part of the explanation for nature versus nurture. So like that's the nature coming into play is there's something spiritual coming into your life when you're born, has nothing to do with your physical being. And I think, so that's kind of my way of looking at it. But I think, and I'll get into the opposing side of this, but I've always felt like this is a movie about optimism and the idea that, like, you can be dealt a pretty lousy hand in life, whether that's the circumstances you're born into or the body that you are born with, the struggles you have there. You can have all these obstacles, but if you are driven and you have the desire, you can overcome and you can do great things and you can shoot for the stars and actually achieve your dreams. And in this movie, he literally is shooting for the stars. Yep. Again, not very subtle. But like, there's like this, I don't know, the movie is playing around with this idea of like, are people born with physical disabilities, just like out of the loop on certain things, or can they somehow get past it? And I think the scene that illustrates this a lot, and it kind of shows the conflict that Vincent has, is the piano scene. That's the piano concert scene is way more interesting than I ever thought about up until recently. He makes that point. He's like, oh, he's got 6 fingers. Like, isn't it really just how you play at the end of the day? Like, it doesn't matter how many fingers you have. It's like, it's what you are bringing to the piano.
Yeah.
And she says, that piece can only play it if you have 6 fingers, though. And that probably bugged the crap out of Vincent because he's That's her saying that.
Well, he had to be genetically
Yeah.
superior to be able to do that. Well,
Yeah.
in his case, genetically flawed.
And everybody in the world has been telling Vincent that, sorry, you do not have the physical characteristics in order to do the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
And so to hear her say, you can't play that piece without 12 fingers, that really frustrates him, I'm imagining. So, like, I've always felt like the movie was really trying to say that, like, no, people who are driven can do amazing things despite the obstacles they have in life. When we get into some of the maybe pitfalls of the movie, I'll talk about how I felt a little bit differently last night watching the movie. But anyway, okay. I think the other part that stuck out to me, and we talked about the doctor who basically had been letting it fly. I think that's another optimistic thing. It's like, even in a world where there's a lot of division, a lot of discrimination, there are always good people in the world who are above that, you know, who are better than that, you know, and that doctor character is like him. That's just another thing pointing at Vincent and saying, hey, the world's not as bad as you think. It's bad, but there is good in it. And he says that he's suddenly leaving this world that he's been trying to get off of his entire life. So it's like, I think that's the other pieces. There are good people in this world. Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what I mean, as you said, it's not subtle.
No, it's not. It's not subtle at all.
I said like the same thing that, you know, very on the nose. It's trying to say that we are more than our genetics. And I think that extends to, you know, we are more than our family that we come from, our social class, our physical class. And if we really want to accomplish something great, we can, like you said, if we have that drive. And then I also, like, along the same lines, but wanted to mention, is it mentions how you shouldn't focus on your flaws, basically.
Yeah.
He has that conversation with Uma Thurman where he's like, you know, they have you looking so closely at yourself, at your flaws, that you can't see past them, something along those lines. I know that's not exactly it.
I mean, he's like, well, if there's anything wrong with you, I can't see it from where I'm standing, essentially.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, like, we shouldn't let our shortcomings and flaws determine what we can and cannot do.
Yeah.
What we're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The ending. What are your thoughts on the ending of the movie?
Yeah, it was really interesting watching it last night and having my analytical brain turned on while viewing it. Because on the one hand, like I already said, I do love the optimism in the fact that, like, Vincent does in fact achieve his dream. Mm-hmm. And he does. He against all odds, he does get to go up in the spaceship. And that's great, right? And and I've already said, like, I love that message in the movie, but when you take it from the, like, perspective of Jerome, Jude Law's character, the movie is very tragic when you think about it from his side. Yeah. And it's funny because at the very beginning, you immediately realize he's not a happy individual, right? Mm-hmm. He's obviously depressed. And he's ultimately just trying to do what he can, you know, make some money so that he can probably just, they say, live the lifestyle he's become accustomed to, which is basically stay at home and drink alcohol all the time, whatever. And up front, it's pretty clever because you at first think that this depression that he has is entirely because of his disability, or not his disability, but the fact that he became crippled. Like, he got, what was it, hit by a car or whatever, or
something like that.
And he became paralyzed, and now he's in a wheelchair. And so you're like, oh yeah, he's depressed. Mm-hmm. But then you discover he was depressed before that. Yeah. He basically says, I was completely sober when I jumped out in front of that car. He was already trying to kill himself.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
And so, like, but the thing that's frustrating to me is that, in my mind, it's very poetic the way the movie ends, because Jude Law and Ethan Hawke, despite looking so much alike that they can pull off this whole, genetic fraud at the end of the day, they can actually pull it off with the image. They get Ethan Hawke to look like him. Despite them looking so similar, they are opposites in the movie, realistically. You have Vincent, who was born with none of the, niceties of life, and his genetics aren't good enough and all that stuff. But he is driven and he has a dream, right? And he'll do anything to achieve that dream, and he does. But then you have, Jude Law. He's the opposite in that he was born with all of those things. He was born with the perfect genetic engineering. He was, supposed to be an athlete that could do anything. But despite that, it seems that he was missing something in terms of his ambition, his drive, his spirit, whatever it was. But they almost make it feel like that was just like determined from the beginning that was going to happen. Like, his entire life, it's like he was expected it to be handed to him, and he never changed in that regard. So it's like it all leads to him ultimately just giving up and saying, I don't want to live here anymore. Because the only good thing that he had latched onto apparently was Vincent's dream, because he got the better end of the deal. He gave him his body, he gave him his dream. And so to me, it's just so tragic, and it feels like that's an opposite. It's an opposition to what I thought the message of the story was, in that anybody can achieve greatness.
Yeah.
But they make it feel like he couldn't.
Yeah, like he really had no way out. And
so there's like a part of me that's like, I think this story is different nowadays too, with our understanding of mental health and all these other things. It's like, I feel like Jerome needed help.
Yeah.
And he was not getting that help. So it's like, I don't know, him having to kill himself at the end is just like, again, poetic. And you get that great shot of like the rocket taking off and the fire going up inside of the...
I was going to bring that up.
But also, so if I could change anything, I wish his story wasn't as tragic, despite it being poetic. And also, of all the ways to kill yourself?
Right?
Like, what the heck?
That's what I said, and I probably say it every time. Like, why would you want to go that way?
All the things he could have done, he puts himself in...
An incinerator.
It's like, dude.
Yeah, like that's gotta be a terrible, terrible way to do it. Like, yeah, he's got... I mean, it's terrible, but he's got alcohol and, like...
I don't know. It just feels like there's other ways to do that, even though I feel like he shouldn't be doing it in the first place. But, so I felt a little weird about that the movie, because I don't know if you know, one of the things like that was super on the nose that they cut, they used to have this scene at the end, like right before credits or something like that, where they literally showed, not a montage. It's a bunch of pictures put together. Like a collage. Is that what I'm thinking? No. Yeah, a collage. A collage.
Oh, they all are
literally
together.
They like put a bunch. So at one point they were going to put a bunch of photos.
Yeah, I read about
of
this.
Like famous athletes who were disabled in some way.
Yeah,
and it's like, I feel like, again, this ending with Jude Law and his character, it just feels like it's counter to that. I don't know. That was bugging me more than I expected this time watching it. But anyway.
Yeah, because with like how optimistic, like you said, there's a lot of optimistic stuff in the movie. It is strange that they still chose to go that tragic route with him rather than have him have this like realization or change of heart of like, I can be happy in my circumstances. Yeah. I could go find my own dream and do something. Yeah. But no, it's like he's happy for Vincent and he still wants to end his life.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. And yeah, one of the things that stuck out to me, though, is this movie is kind of full of those opposites. And it starts off with an opposite. I didn't think about this, but the two quotes at the beginning are opposing ideas. there's the Bible verse that's basically like, how, you know, how dare someone, is it straighten what God has made crooked or something to that effect? But then the next quote is like, I think people will definitely tamper with, you know, our genetics. I think like we'll tamper with nature. Like those are opposing ideas.
Yeah, it's the first saying like, oh, this, who would think to question God's creation and alter it? And then
the next one is, no, we're going to, for sure.
People will do this. Yeah.
So there's this sense of like, they're showing these opposites on purpose. But anyway. What about you? Do you feel good about the ending, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. Like I feel satisfied in seeing Vincent achieve what he's been striving for and gone through so much suffering and drive, like pushing to get there. So it is really satisfying in that way. Even though he is slightly sad to be leaving, like he kind of grew an attachment to the world, like saying, oh, like there's a woman that I like, there's actually good people that have helped me get here. But I mean, I still like that. And then, as you said, Jude Law's character taking his life is very sad. But I don't think I would change that.
Yeah.
Maybe like they could have done the whole optimistic scenario I talked about where he has a change of heart, but I think the more poetic, tragic path just fits better. I don't know why necessarily.
It's them going on opposite journeys ultimately, and in order for that to see it all the way through, that's just how it has to end. So I see it.
Yeah, and it's like it made sense because you knew he was depressed, and you know you would be thinking, well, like, what is he gonna do now that the only person in his life is leaving? Like, what, you know, you'd think like, oh, what is he gonna do? Unless there was some cheeseball line where he's like, oh, I'm gonna become a dentist.
I met someone, Vincent, and I'm happier than ever. You know, it is a little cheeseball if you think about any other thing. So that's totally fair.
But yeah, it is very, very sad. But I do greatly appreciate that artsy shot switching between the rocket launching and the incinerator. As terrible as that sounds, but it is beautiful imagery.
Yeah, totally.
So, do you have a favorite and least favorite character? Or
I bet we're probably gonna have the same choice here. I think favorite character, Jude Law hit it out of the park in this movie.
Yeah,
I know his story is so tragic, but like he does this really good thing where it's like, yes, tragic, and yes, he's depressed, but somehow he manages to make it so, I don't know. I always found a lot of his grumpiness and just yelling, you know, being very entitled in the way that he approached, like, because again, he's in an upper class based on his genetics, right? But like some of his lines are just so great. In fact, his lines are the most quotable for me as far as this movie is concerned. But man, he nailed it. And I think this was his first U.S. film, his first Hollywood film. I mean, it says introducing Jude Law at the beginning. Wow. Yeah. So this is like number one for him, at least in Hollywood. So yeah, Jude Law, his character, I mean, it's kind of funny to say you always ask me about like characters that I wanted to name my children after. I think, man, he tells him to call him Eugene, and so he calls him that all the time. I really wanted to name one of my boys Eugene, and it didn't happen.
Was it because of this movie?
I think this, among other movies, I kind of was like, I kind of dig that name. Like, I really like that name. You know,
Didn't you also like Jude at one point?
We toyed around with it a little bit, but we have friends who have a son named Jude, and I don't know. I don't want to copy anybody, that kind of thing. Yeah. But we thought about it. But so yeah, Jude Law's great. And then, did you ask me about least favorite? Yeah. So least favorite. This kind of brings up a larger issue, but I did narrow it down. I don't really like the director at Gattaca. I just don't like him in the movie.
Okay.
But it's weird. He's also like the worst offender of something that I think is happening overall in the movie. I feel like everybody's performance outside of Ethan Hawke and Jude Law, everybody's performance feels oddly reserved or like pulled back. Like everybody feels a little bit what's I don't even know what the right word.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I had a really hard time even answering this question of favorite and least favorite. And I don't want to say this where it comes off like I think the people did a poor job. I don't think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I was telling Kyle, I feel like everyone's performance was kind of just like
it's just very level
mid,
and
just
I wonder if it was I kind of wonder if that was intentional. It's almost like being emotional and very outbursty or whatever is like something they took out of their genetics.
Yeah, I feel like it was intentional.
It's like everybody
because they kind of made everyone less emotional and more serious.
Yeah.
I even thought like it's kind of ridiculously over the top in my opinion. Like I told Kyle, why are all these Gattaca employees standing in line like literally no emotion on their faces?
They're like robotic.
They're just like robots standing in a line. And Ethan Hawke has to act that way. He's trying to blend in and he shows no emotion to blend in.
But it's odd that Jude Law is kind of opposite of everyone else too, despite him supposedly being genetically superior.
But he's also like a drunk. So I don't know.
We're in agreement there. It's just like, but the director is like one of the worst offenders for me. Like he feels a little bit fake a lot of the time to me, but other people kind of have that problem too. But I think it's because it might be because they were instructed to do so. Anyway, so those are my two. So Jude Law's great. Director was kind of meh, but a lot of people were kind of meh. So
yeah, that's really funny because I was just gonna say I don't have a least favorite on this one because
that's fine.
Like I couldn't think of anyone, but the only person that like gave me a glimpse of like if I had to say it would have been that same guy.
How do you feel about Ethan Hawke in the movie though? Like I think Ethan Hawke is great in the movie for what it's worth.
Yeah. Like, and that's where I was like, I almost didn't want to say that I even had a favorite.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone was kind of at the same level, which is weird. No, like Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman and Jude Law all do an amazing job.
Yeah.
But I still, even with them doing an amazing job, like there's not really a standout performance to me.
I mean, the part that stands out to me with Ethan Hawke in particular is his confrontation with his brother. Like he gets pretty into it at that moment, and I buy it. Like even you are gonna tell me what I can and cannot do. He really kicks it up a notch right there. Like, and it's good.
I do really like that confrontation of like older brother and younger brother. Yeah. So yeah, we're on the same page there. Because Jude Law is who I would say was my favorite performance as well. Mostly because, as you also touched on, I think he has some of the funnier dialogue. As you also, as you pointed out, it's just like in his tragic, drunken, pessimistic state, a lot of what he says somehow comes off funny.
Yeah, I don't.
And I enjoy it.
I can't decide if it was intentional or not. Like
I'm sure it was.
Him yelling at that cop. Mm-hmm. There's just something hilarious about it, like him being so entitled and yeah. And it's funny. I feel like I see a lot of reels like showing like the camera footage from cops that are on duty, and like you see people who kind of act that way a little bit, and it's like that's not as funny, but kind of shows that like, yeah, that's not unrealistic, you know.
Yeah. What's your favorite scene in this movie? Do you have one?
This is one of my shorter lists, honestly, because the movie's just kind of, it just plays out. But I'll mention a couple. The introduction to Jude Law's character and just the idea of like this genetic fraud becoming a borrowed ladder, that whole scene is just fascinating to me, and I love it. You're getting Jude Law, and you're getting just a lot of the cool bits of this movie all in one place, so that's great. I already mentioned the piano concert scene, which also has interspliced with it the "What's Your Number" scene.
Yeah.
This movie does a really good job of that, where it gives you a lot of stuff, like a lot of story points at the same time.
Yeah, cuts between them.
Yeah, like you're cutting between characters, in one scene, back and forth, really fast. And so this movie, it's funny, as slow of a burn as you might describe it, it goes pretty quick. Like, it's not a very long movie.
It is a short movie, actually.
Yeah, I mean, hour 45,
under
basically.
2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's great. Him yelling, "What's your number?" and just having it out with that. It's really funny. But then I'll mention there's actually 3, but there's 2 very tense scenes in this movie. And again, there's a third, but both the tense scenes are really well done. And that's the running scene, which again, like, you think about it, it's not like there's a ton going on logistically. It's like he's fake running, and he has a heart condition.
Yep.
So you just know all that's going on. And at the exact same time, while he's running and trying to just keep it together, his heart's about to explode. That same time, you're intersplicing between this conversation,
the director and the detective,
and they're talking through all of these things about like who is allowed to work at Gattaca, and
only the best.
And it's like they're not describing Vincent.
Yeah.
And it adds to that tension.
I think they're watching him run. I'm not him specifically.
They're watching all of them run.
They're watching all the employees.
I was always a little confused by that scene, as it's like, are their heartbeats being played out loud for everyone too? Because they all seem to react to when his heart monitor runs out of recording.
That's what it appears to be, which is silly, because how would you even distinguish the heartbeats from each other?
Maybe they were reacting to him, like, just stopping his treadmill suddenly. I don't know. Like, it seems a little odd they would have his heartbeat playing somewhere.
I don't know. It's like, was everyone hearing that?
I guess
or was it just us, the audience, hearing it, and then they saw it visually?
Well, okay, take a step back. They did have a heart monitor on him, so someone is monitoring him at the very least.
Yeah,
it's just a question of,
see it.
Is it really playing it out loud for everyone to hear? Maybe. Anyway, it's still a great scene. And then him going into the locker room, and he's like, he holds it together right up until that point, but then he goes in there and like he's dying.
Yep. And I was like, what are the chances that nobody was in there?
Yeah.
Nobody would see it.
The most empty locker room ever, but still, I love the scene. And then, again, I think they probably use similar music for both these scenes. It's kind of their go-to, like, tense music, but Jerome having to go up the staircase is fantastic. It's like, again, it's a simple idea where it's like, it's not high action, but it's just like, oh my gosh, this cripple who can't walk has to get up this elaborate staircase in a very short amount of time. Thank goodness he's genetically just an athlete and he can do it. But like, you're still kind of like, that's hard.
Yep.
That whole scene is played out really nice, and Uma Thurman kind of just leaning into the part, even though she's learning a lot in that moment. We can talk about that later, but it's a little bit weird. If I had to pick between the two, the staircase scene, I like the staircase scene the most. But
I was gonna say I would have been really surprised if we didn't have the same answer, honestly.
Yeah.
The staircase scene is my favorite scene as well. It's just so well done. It's so intense in a movie that does not have a lot of action in it. And it's intense in multiple ways. Yeah. Not just like intense, but discomfort.
Yeah.
Right? Because as you mentioned, Uma Thurman having to go along with it while she's just discovering all of this. Like, she's never met Jude Law's character. She's just barely learning that this whole plot has been going on.
And of course he pushes it to where's my kiss?
Yeah,
you know, like,
makes her kiss
did
him.
he really have to do that?
No. I know, right?
It's a little bit slimy of him, but
I know. I'm like, is he really just wanting a kiss because he's slimy, or was he like
trying to play it up?
It really needs to sell. I don't know, but
interesting.
But yeah, the discomfort there, and then there's also the intensity. Maybe not so intense, but that same feeling of unease with the detective almost going downstairs.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, does he go down? Like, I didn't even remember, and I've seen this movie multiple times. I'm like, is he going to go down there?
Is he actually a good detective? Like, he didn't even like bother to like look around at all,
right?
Like,
just coming in the front room.
He'd probably discover what was going on pretty quick if he just walked down there.
Literally, because it's not like Jude Law had time to hide anything. He just jumped out of his wheelchair and climbed a flight of stairs.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the situation was. Like, did they have a clean room where they kept everything? Maybe he could have walked that down at the last second. It didn't seem like it, though.
It seemed like they always had lab equipment out down there.
Also, Vincent was standing down there.
Yeah.
Somehow got in.
And the wheelchair. It's just, yeah. So it's like the fact that he's that close to just seeing literally everything.
To be fair, he was probably trying not to really discover the truth because he doesn't want his brother to actually get in trouble. So maybe that's fine.
Maybe that's why he's not the greatest detective. It's really just him being protective.
Protective detective over there.
Protective detective.
Yeah, I had to. Sorry.
But yes, that scene is a great one. What about most awkward part or moment in the movie?
This was hard for me too. There's two. First of all, them naming him. So first thing I want to mention, his parents naming him Vincent Anton at the last second. He's like, I'm not going to give him my name as his first name. Gives it his middle name. Then they have a genetically engineered son who's better in every single way. You know,
and he gets it as his first name.
Who names who gives their second child the same first name? Like
the middle name of the first child.
That's ridiculous. I was just like, dude, like, man, like, I know the parents are trying to be realistic, but my heavens, they also just like leaned into like, oh my gosh, this son's so much better.
Yeah,
they put up measurements on the wall to like rub it in that his younger brother it's like ridiculous. I'm like,
is it really believable that a parent could be that awful in judging their differences between their children?
I know. I mean, I guess, I don't know, the social classes maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, they made some choices. I also just wanted to point out, to me, it's a little bit, I know it's kind of played for laughs a little bit, but like the doctor commenting on Jerome's equipment, like when he's giving his urine samples, I'm just like, is that trying to add some kind of depth to the movie or is it just completely unnecessary?
I think it was meant to be light and funny. And
it's like,
kind of like
the naturally born child is, I don't know, maybe there might.
Wouldn't you be really uncomfortable if a doctor was like talking up your
I mean, I'm assuming he has to watch to that level to make sure, but I'm also like, how is he hiding what he's doing realistically? Is he like full on? I don't understand how that's really working, frankly. I don't know. I'm trying not to think about it too hard. But anyway, those are my two picks.
Okay, those were good. I didn't even consider them. Because to me, I find it very awkward, maybe uncomfortable in the alleyway after that party raid. When the cops show up at that party and they run out in the alley and he beats the crap out of that cop and then they hide and start kissing. It's like I find that very odd, and
I
because
actually
she just barely saw him irrationally out of nowhere
start beating up this cop.
Beat up a cop.
Horribly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that just terrify you? Like, whoa, man.
I had this listed in biggest pitfall, actually.
Okay.
I'll go into a little more, but like, yeah.
But instead of being totally turned off and frightened by that,
yeah,
she just leans into it, and
it's a little bit weird.
I'm gonna kiss you anyway.
I'm just gonna get into it now.
Okay.
Like, one of the biggest pitfalls for me is unfortunately Uma Thurman's character and the choices that she makes. They don't always make a ton of sense to me, frankly. They just don't. And again, she's just working with the material. It's not her fault necessarily, but like, I just feel like that character's something's weird with that character. I just don't know how to justify the things that she does.
Yeah, there is something weird there.
And it's also like, so after the staircase scene, she goes outside and her and Vincent kind of go at it, and she's like super ticked off, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about the series of events that took place that got her to that point, and I'm like, why is she mad right now?
Right. They just went through that alleyway scene and slept together, and...
But like, he attacked a cop.
Yeah.
She admits while they're like, you know, waking up the next morning, she's like, I know you had something to do with the director's murder. So you think he possibly killed somebody. You seem fine with that at this moment.
Yep.
But then and then like I mean maybe it's like saying how like the severity of being a borrowed ladder is so bad, but like he says I didn't kill anybody. Like, he tries to reassure her in that moment when they're fighting, and it's like, wait, why are you suddenly ticked off? It's like, okay, you knew something weird was going on. He showed you the scar and told you he lies about it. It's like, I guess she's discovering really what's happening and feels like cheated, maybe. That like, okay, I was fine with everything until I realized you were lying about your name and your genetics. But I guess the genetics and the ranking is important in this society, so maybe that was the breaking point for her. It's like, it's fine if you're a murderer, but if you're lying about your genetics, hold on a second. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, but admittedly, I was thinking similar things of like, what is her deal? Why does she keep changing like how she's reacting to these things? It doesn't make sense.
I think, yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair pitfall for sure.
I did have some other things unless you wanted to continue on awkward scenes.
Oh no. I was gonna put a pin on, just a plug rather, on the upside down love scene. That's a little awkward.
They were going for like artsy and
but it was just like,
it's just kind of weird. Yeah, for me it's just like, okay.
Just upside down
sex scene. Cool.
All right.
And there's ocean in the background. Nice.
Yep.
I don't know. It's a little, yeah. I almost put that in there, but it ended up just kind of being like, yeah.
Yeah. So, moving on with the pitfalls, you said you have others.
Yeah. So her character, I was thinking, you know, I used to always think it was clever how he got around the, like, you know, the one detective's like, I suggest we get blood from the vein. Like, which implies that he knows that there's the potential of the faking it with the fingertip patches or whatever. And Vincent just like cleverly hides some and then like has this strong reaction where he like
swap out the vial.
You know, he just starts swearing like, oh my gosh, like that hurt like crazy. What are you doing to me? And in my mind, I'm like, those cops didn't think that was weird.
Right.
Like,
they didn't take notice or...
That was probably the only person in the entire company who reacted that way. And
I was thinking his vial of blood just like matches.
I mean, he might have known, but but I'm also just like, I'm imagining that the two detectives standing in the room. I'm thinking,
they didn't even react.
Wouldn't they be like, do it again? Please do that again. That was a little weird.
They didn't even flinch. They didn't even look. There's just that guy in the trench coat and hat just staring off into space. Like, nope, that's not interesting.
This is completely normal for someone to yell and squirt blood during a, typical blood draw.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's like super uncommon to draw blood like that. I don't know. Because they always use like a little tiny pinprick and just get a drop or whatever.
Maybe.
I just thought that was like, I don't know if I'm buying that. That was it for me though. What about you? What was the biggest pitfall for you?
I don't really have any big ones.
Okay. Yeah.
I do have a couple tiny things because I couldn't think of anything bigger, but I just put some of the futuristic elements don't hold up, which we talked about. It does hold up really well, but specifically it bothers me like that their computers are just super, super old, like these tiny little boxes.
It didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I paid attention to kind of the details of what they did. They did build something kind of custom, and it wasn't like you were staring at. It didn't look like you were staring like at an old Macintosh, at least, but
it's just like I guess coming from where we are today, that's like the one thing.
Yeah, it's
the
like
one thing.
They're making phone calls on their watches. They've got the electric cars, but they have these terrible screens.
Displays. Yeah, because it's not only his work computer that's this tiny, terrible display. It's their little like images that pop up every time they get a blood draw.
Yeah.
It's like this super jittery digital image that it's like
Yeah, I mean you could argue it's retro, but it's also hard because like you have to remember at the time it's like you either just like you go full on fake, and back then faking a computer screen looked like garbage, frankly. Or you do an actual computer screen and do the best you can with what they had.
Yeah, and to be fair, I say that is a very small pitfall for me because I can overlook it. It's usually like a note that I'm like, yeah, that's super old looking, but you can overlook it and be like, it's stylistic at the same time.
Yeah,
you brought back like the 20s style in clothing. It's kind of like, well, maybe this futuristic society didn't really progress in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think about movies like Alien, for example, where they just lean into the retro feel, and then like later iterations, like even like the new Alien Earth series, they show the same ship and they keep the retro feel because that's what it looked like. The reason that works though better than this is like everything looks different. Nothing looks like it's of our world or our time. This movie, it's like so much of it looks like it's our world. That to have that be there, it's hard to say, oh yeah, that's just being retro. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It is a minor nitpick.
Yeah, and then the last one I have is kind of just silly, but it bothers me more. I've always been bothered that at the very end of the movie, they go up to space in their regular business suits.
You want them to have space suits and all that stuff.
That's what's funny. I can't really picture them being in space suits because they don't show any other like scientific futuristic stuff. But it's also like, really? They're just walking onto a rocket in a suit and tie.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't really bother me too much, but it also makes me wonder if there was like a lot of like if there was something deliberate in that decision to have it be that way, because the movie does seem to be very purposefully avoiding the tech.
Yeah.
It's like it's not concerned with that. That's not the point of the movie. And so you could argue they're like saying, well, the rockets are advanced enough that they've gotten to the point they don't need that kind of stuff. But
I feel silly complaining about that because I said how I like how simple it is. But for that one, it was just like...
I should have looked into what the budget for this movie was too. What if that was just a simple budget constraint? Because I mean, there really isn't a lot in this movie that I'm like, oh, that's really flashy. I bet that was expensive. Like, yeah, maybe the car. Like, I think the car might have been custom for the movie, but like, it feels like everything was just shot for real. So it doesn't feel very expensive, but it works.
Right.
But I wonder if they were like, we can't do spacesuits. There's just not enough money.
No, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the movie was made for very little money.
But it's great, though.
It is really great. Music. What's your favorite musical element?
This was actually pretty hard for me. I basically picked out two moments where I was like, the music really shines for me here. I like the music right at the beginning of the flashback sequence where it shows his parents and, you know, how he was conceived and how he was born and all that stuff. The music right there is lovely. I don't know it well enough to hum it, though.
Yeah.
And then same thing. I really like the music. This one's a little more fresh in my brain, but the music when they go and watch the sunrise with the solar panels. I think they're solar panels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they're reflecting light to some collector solar panel. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but the music there is really like really nice.
Okay.
But again, the music's never been like a standout for me for this movie, frankly.
I'm actually really surprised, not that the music isn't standout, but just you didn't mention the piece that I love. There's one piece of music from this movie that I've had on my playlist.
Oh, so you actually listened to the music from this movie a little bit?
Not really, no. Like, I don't think I ever listened to the album, like the whole soundtrack.
But like one song.
But I found this one song.
Is on a playlist.
Yeah, I've had it for years.
That's more than me.
Yeah. So I think they used it at least a couple times, maybe more throughout the movie, but it is the music they play at the very end for the rocket launch.
Oh, okay.
While he's having that voiceover about being sad about leaving.
Yeah.
Is
it just kind of like the main theme of the movie that maybe it Okay. Yeah, that actually is kind of its own theme. You're totally right. Yeah. It's a subtle score, though. I mean, it's not like in your face most of the time.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I enjoy it, but you're right, it's not super standout. But that piece of music I have always thought is so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's called The Departure.
Aptly named.
Yep. Michael Nyman is the one who did the score. I don't know anything else he's done. I just haven't looked him up.
That name sounds familiar.
It would be interesting to look and see if he's done any other.
I feel bad. I actually spent almost no time on IMDb for this movie, so I know very little. I got two actors' names basically, and that's it. Anyway,
no worries. Like I said, there wasn't a lot in trivia anyway. Okay, so diving into cast and crew, was there anyone unexpected?
So I have two. You might know at least one of them. There's no way I would have known this unless I saw a reel on Instagram that pointed it out, but it's crazy to me. Young Vincent, when he's like doing the planets, that Vincent, that's Dennis the Menace.
Really?
Our Dennis the Menace. Like,
wow.
Like that's him.
I can picture it now that you said it. Yeah.
That blows my mind every time thinking about it. Like,
how did you even figure that out?
That again, I saw
just went through
there was
the cast?
no. There was like an Instagram reel that just like pointed it out randomly, and I was like, no way. Looked it up. Yeah. The actor's name is Mason Gamble. I frankly don't know outside of this and that what he has done. He has a modern like picture on IMDb, like an adult picture, so he's probably done
crazy.
But yeah, the other one that stuck out to me, and this one I didn't like know ahead of time, but it just clicked. I was like, oh, I know that person. His mom in this movie, did you notice?
Oh yeah, I recognized her.
Are you recognizing her from the same movie though as me?
I would think so.
She's the mom of the son
in Kindergarten
Cop that's being abused and coming into school with bruises, and I was like, oh yeah, like that clicked this time.
Yeah.
Her name is Jane Brooke. I'm sure she's done a lot of other things, but those two I just remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I wouldn't know her from anything else, but I thought the same thing. Like, oh, she's played a mother in that.
Yeah,
she played a mother in this. Just a very brief. Similar role.
Yeah, I wonder if she ever had anything big in her career, or if she's always kind of just
small.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd have to look into that. Again, I didn't spend a ton of time on IMDb, but
Yeah.
anyway, those are my two. The Dennis the Menace one is crazy to me.
Yeah, that's much more interesting than what I have. So I only found one thing that was unexpected, and I'm going to have to rewatch it to see this person because I don't actually recall.
I actually think I know what you're going to say.
Because you probably
I noticed her picture.
Yeah. So apparently, breaking news.
Just kidding. Breaking news.
This is the first movie that Maya Rudolph appeared in, which I just think is silly to even.
And she's popular for SNL, correct?
Yes.
Saturday Night Live.
Famous SNL cast member. She was in Bridesmaids.
She's apparently one of the nurses, like when he's born.
Yeah. I just saw her, like, I read that piece of trivia that it was her first movie, and I was like, there's no, like, she's not anyone big in this movie, clearly. So I go through the cast
I'm
list.
guessing she didn't even have a speaking line, right?
No, I wouldn't think so. It just says delivery nurse. So.
Yeah. Like, she wasn't the one who, like, read out a, health report or whatever.
No, but I'm like, that's kind of interesting. I think it's silly that they would put that as trivia because it's like...
I almost wrote that down, though.
She just literally showed her face on screen for maybe a second. I don't know, but I'm going to go back and look because that's interesting. I do like Maya Rudolph. She's really funny.
Yeah.
On SNL.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite trivia from IMDb?
So, like I said, I ran out of time and never actually looked, but I did want to shout out one detail that always gets me. That's incredible to me. Mm-hmm. It's like just one of those attention to detail things. When Jerome, Jude Law, offers his arm to Vincent's brother to have him take his blood,
because marks.
There's little scars
from how many times he's drawn blood. Yeah.
Which I'm also like, if he was being a good detective, would that have like?
But then on
maybe
the
he just thinks he's a drug user.
Well, but like maybe in that society,
it's
maybe
common.
It's very common to get your blood drawn.
I don't know.
Well, probably not, but I noticed that too. I always see the.
It's
scars.
Great though. It's a lovely detail. It's like, oh yeah, let's just put a few little scars there.
Someone thought that intricately. Like this dude's been getting blood samples for months, and
this is when we find out those are just like real scars on Jude Law. Oh no.
Yeah, he actually just has those. That wasn't part of the movie. No. So that was your one thing.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you?
So I did go through all of the IMDb
and it
trivia.
was slim.
It was very slim. Like literally most of it was about just the buildings that they shot in, and I was just like, well, that's kind of lame. But I did pull out a few. We're
not going to do a Gattaca road trip?
Nah.
Go visit all the sites?
Nah. Very quickly, I wasn't even going to mention it, but because you didn't, apparently Johnny Depp was offered the role of the main character, Ethan Hawke, but he was filming another movie. Would have been really different, I think.
Him and Jude Law kind of go together, at least visually. But
yeah, I kind of had the same thought. Like Ethan Hawke and Jude Law don't look anything alike. I don't think
it. But Johnny somehow they got that to work.
Yeah.
But it's a very different movie with Johnny Depp. Honestly, like I don't know. That's interesting.
It is interesting. It's the picture.
That's a hard one.
Speaking of them pulling off Ethan Hawke looking like Jude Law, you've probably heard this, but the image that they use of Jerome every time his picture pops up,
right?
They actually created like a morphed image of Jude Law and Ethan Hawke's faces for that picture.
I mean, I assumed they did like, everything they could to make that look as close to them both as possible.
And I've always been like, it doesn't look like either of them, and that's why. If it doesn't look like Jude Law, they can't say, oh, well, he doesn't look like Jude Law, and vice
I know,
versa.
like, I'm like, if the cop was looking at that picture, he'd be questioning, like, are you really this guy?
Right.
Like when it's Jude Law, even.
Because, yeah, it doesn't look like either of them to me.
I mean, there's a lot of little things like that where like they went the old school route of like they cast different people for all the younger roles. They did what they could, and it was fine. You know, you go with it, and you understand that the movie has to do things to make it work. Yep. And you know,
and honestly, like, I think it can be an argument for it that people don't look that closely at people's faces. But
this does remind me, I wanted to give a shout out, like the casting choices for his brother specifically, Anton, the younger castings were incredible.
Yeah.
Like it makes it so it's very noticeable how bad Vincent's teenage doppelganger, like the actor for him, looks nothing like Ethan Hawke in my mind. Like he just doesn't look like him at all. But one thing that's kind of cool though about casting younger actors to play the younger parts, the reveal of him being his brother wouldn't have worked. Like for example, like if they use the same actor to play him younger, that reveal doesn't work unless they hide his facial features somehow. So it's like, that's kind of weird. Like that adds to the reveal, the fact that they used a different actor, so you don't immediately know that it's his brother.
Yeah.
Like there's not really a way to get around that without casting someone else. At least not easily. Anyway.
I only had one more, and it's, I don't know how much it falls under trivia, but I'm curious if you know. I wouldn't have known unless I was skimming. I wanted to know if the director, Andrew Niccol, had done anything noteworthy. Okay, so you know. You're nodding at me. Well, I will say I don't think he's done any what I consider notable films.
Except for one, right?
Director wise. But he wrote The Truman Show.
Yeah, he did.
What?
So he didn't direct The Truman Show,
yes,
to be clear.
He did not direct it, but he wrote it.
That explains a lot because I knew there was a connection there. I thought he might have directed it.
Yeah.
But I also knew that Truman Show had a different writer than the director.
Yeah.
But that makes a lot of sense.
So I was like, that's crazy, because we love The Truman Show.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me happy to see that there was a connection there. But I was also sad that he hasn't really directed anything great.
Yeah.
Like Gattaca is like really like
his only one
good thing out of like 10 movies maybe.
Oof. So this reminds me of a thing that I really want to do sometime, is like take a movie like Gattaca or, you know, whatever, and focus on the writer. Like, and go and find all the good things that they wrote. Yeah. I have not done that yet, but I want to really badly. And maybe I could start with him. It's like, okay, he wrote The Truman Show. I already seen it, but like, what else did he write? Maybe I would love those movies too.
Yeah, that would be a fun thing to experiment with.
I have not done that. I always fixate on actors and directors, which is probably true for a lot of people, but like screenwriters.
It's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Quotes. We've talked about, it's not the most quotable movie, but do you have a favorite or?
Yeah, like the one, I'll go through a little list. It's not very long, but like I like when he asks Jerome, "How tall are you?" and he immediately answers 4'6", because that's his height when he's in a wheelchair.
Clever. Yeah.
Really funny. This one always cracked me and my friends up. I feel like I watched this with friends and we got a kick out of it. But when he says, "There is more vodka in this piss than there is piss." Yeah. That's really funny. That's just a funny moment in the movie generally. But like, and then most of these are Jude Law, but like him on the phone. "I'm bored talking to you. I'm bored. I'll call you back." You know, just so much attitude. Yeah. "What's your number?"
"What's your number?" No. What's your number?
It's impossible not to do an accent with it too. I know.
I thought about saying it in my own voice, and it just doesn't hit the same.
And then when Vincent comes to the stairs, Jerome, how the heck did you get up here? Oh, I could always walk. I've been faking it.
Yeah.
This one's a little more on the serious side, but like I like the line of him saying, "You want to know how I did it? I never saved anything for the swim back."
Yep.
Which just it perfectly like illustrates his attitude towards life and how he is just putting everything he's got into his dream and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the motif of the line, "Sorry, the wind caught it."
Yeah.
And I wrote down that this reminded me of it's a line that says a lot without explicitly saying it. It's like that's her saying, I've decided I don't really care about the genetic thing anymore. The whole society, trying to classify everybody that way. It's just like, I don't care. It reminds me of Blade Runner 2049 when he asks Harrison Ford if the dog is artificial. And his line is just, I don't know, ask him.
Yeah.
And that's his way of saying, I just don't care.
Yep.
I don't care if it's artificial anymore. Like, that's not important to me. But, and then I like Jerome's line at the end where he says, "I got the better end of the deal. I only lent you my body. You lent me your dream."
Yeah.
That's a lovely sentiment to end the movie on. As far as favorite, like I don't know, like I think I'm pretty partial to the "What's your number" line. It's great. It's really funny.
Yeah, that's mine. That's
literally
literally the only one I put because it's just so funny, and I think we say it to each other the most often. So
yeah.
the only other Jude Law one that you didn't mention that I also think is funny is when they're talking about his eye color.
Yeah.
My eyes are prettier than yours.
Yeah, my eyes are prettier than yours.
All right. So we're to the spouse ratings. What do you think Sarah rated this? How much do you think she liked it?
God, I'm going back and forth on this one. I sort of asked Sarah the other day, "You've seen this movie before, right?" And it's a stupid question. Of course she has. And she's like, "Yes, I've seen it many times." I tried not to read into that too much, but I don't know. It's hard for me to judge science fiction movies with Sarah for some reason. I'm going to go out on a limb. This feels a little wrong, and I won't be too surprised if I'm wrong. I think she might have given it a 7. Like, I think it's actually a pretty good movie in her mind. That's what I'll say.
Okay. All right. So Sarah gave it a 5.5.
Oh, shoot.
5.5.
Okay. All right.
So
I overshot. Okay.
She said, quote, "Probably a 5.5 with a smiley face. Tiny bit more than neutral. I don't dislike it. It's an interesting idea as far as sci-fi goes, and I can sit through it and enjoy some things, like I think the acting is good, for example. But it feels a little slow and dry to me, and just not my go-to genre for movies. So she wouldn't choose to put it on, but it's fine."
Yeah. Again, so. I guess that kind of...
You're like, that all lines up, but
that
I thought it was higher.
That confirms my suspicion. I thought maybe she'd surprise me a little more, but like, yes.
Given that she's seen it, yeah, a lot.
I don't know if it's fair to say that I think Sarah just generally speaking doesn't like science fiction all that much.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that that's the case, which is why I'm watching these movies by myself a lot of the time, but that's fine.
Yep. All right.
And how about you, Becca? I understand you watched this with Kyle.
I did watch this with Kyle. We've probably watched it together before, at least once before. I decided I actually knocked it down a point.
Yeah.
Before we started recording.
Oh.
I think that he probably would give this movie a 6.
Okay.
I originally was going to say 7, and then I was like, maybe it's not that high.
Yeah.
So what did he say?
So I feel a little bit bad. I texted Kyle like an hour before we recorded this, so he did not have a ton of time. So his response is very brief. But he answered, and he's getting back into his fun unit of measurement here.
Oh gosh.
He gave it. He said it's like a 3 pi.
What?
So he added niner. So he,
What?
if I'm understanding what he's saying, he
3
gave this
times
movie.
pi?
He gave this movie a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
He's
I
not.
shouldn't have knocked off that extra point.
He's not going into a lot of detail, and that's mostly my fault. But
that's very surprising.
yeah, he seems to like this movie.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because like I figured that he liked it because it is an intriguing sci-fi, but
Yeah.
I thought, not fought.
I
thought. I thought, given how slow it is, that maybe he wouldn't find it that entertaining.
Yeah.
But that's good to know. That's high up on that's his highest rating, I think.
He has a top 10, and I'm pretty sure this isn't
No, it's
in
not.
it.
No.
So, I mean, that's interesting to think about, like, so all of his top 10s he considers like 9s or 10s compared to this.
And he's got some questionable, at least one questionable movie on his top 10.
Hey, it's subjective. It's subjective. We do not we don't judge people's tastes.
We don't judge people too harshly. We try not to anyway.
Have we judged each other a whole lot at this point? I don't feel like we have. Too bad.
Not yet, I don't think.
I don't think we have anything that's like super. Well, that's not true.
There's
at least
some on mine that you're.
There's some that I'm not looking forward to. So I guess that's not true. Anyway,
Cool. All right.
So a 5.5 from Sarah and a 9 from Kyle. Jeez. Okay.
That's quite the spread.
Whew.
All right. So random questions. I tried to be a little more creative here with this one.
Mine's really lame.
Mine's lame too, but it is more creative. So
Okay.
I hope I get points for that.
I'm gonna laugh when you ask me the same question.
I had 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if one is mine, but I won't say both. I'm just going to pick one. So, my random question for you, Jeff. If you had to assume either Ethan Hawke or Jude Law's identity, which one do you think you would have a better chance of pulling off?
Oh, like you. So
Like in the movie, if you were taking over someone else's identity, like Ethan Hawke is taking over Jude Law's.
So to be clear, we're talking about the actual actors, not their characters.
Yes, the actors.
I mean, I guess that doesn't make a huge difference, but
yeah, it's mostly an appearance question and mannerism. Like, who do you think you could pull off?
I don't want to sound too vain or anything like that, because I do think
this is what I was trying to draw out. I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
no, I have been told by some that these are, I don't know why people say these things to give me a big head, because it's like I don't have that strong of a resemblance, let's be clear. But there have been people who said I look a little bit like Jude Law.
Yeah.
So I would pick him.
Yeah.
That is a very high compliment for someone who, I mean, I'll take it, but I only kind of see it. It's funny because I actually think our uncle looks more like Jude Law than me.
Yeah.
There
is something. I am on the page of like, no, you couldn't pass for him. But there are like little traits that you could be like, oh, there's something there.
I look British. I look a little British.
Okay.
I've gotten Jude Law. I've gotten Hugh Grant. I've gotten Hugh Laurie. I'm just like a slightly uglier version of all of those people combined.
You're the American version of all those British people combined.
Much more attractive men than me, but sure, I'll go with that. I'll make myself feel good today.
All right. I just wanted to hear you say it. I kind of already knew the answer, so.
I did dress up as Watson from the Sherlock Holmes movies.
You did, yep.
I grew out the mustache, and I even posed for a picture, like did a black and white photo of Jude. Like I did the whole thing, and like that kind of proved to me I don't actually look like him that much, but it was kind of fun. So here's my silly question for you. There's a scene in this movie that involves myopia, nearsightedness, because the character of, Jerome is nearsighted, which is one of his genetic flaws. You are nearsighted, Becca. I used to be nearsighted. And it's funny because, like, watching this movie, it actually always drives me nuts a little bit when, like, filmmakers, for some reason, just can't imitate nearsightedness on camera. I don't understand why that's difficult. It's like, just put it out of focus a little bit. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And they went a little all in and like made it like really janky. Like, I'm like, that's not really what nearsightedness looks like in my opinion. But anyway, here's my question though. Do you think you, without your glasses or contacts on, could cross a busy street like that? Do you think you could do it?
I don't think I could cross a street like that with my contacts.
That's what I was thinking. It's like they're making this huge deal. It's like no one in their right mind would cross that street regardless.
They're showing how many fast vehicles are going on this road. Like,
it's like a 5-lane highway.
Yeah.
Like who's
like I'm gonna cross I-15 and yeah. No. I comment on that as well. Like, there's no way that he would have crossed that road with his eyesight. Like, because I wouldn't. Yeah. To answer your question, no, I would not be able to cross a street like that without my contact lenses. But
this is my problem. Like, if it was a normal, like, street, sure.
Well, yeah, like, without heavy traffic and cars going, like, 60 miles an hour.
It's like the worst example of like putting someone with nearsightedness into a situation. It's like, why the heck did Uma Thurman or Irene, why did she cross the road there? Like,
right? She didn't want to find a crossing, like a crosswalk.
I mean, I guess they were kind of going to a sort of industrial location.
Yeah,
maybe there's
they
just
weren't
not
supposed to be. So.
Anyway, it is a little bit ridiculous, but I was curious, like,
although I don't spend enough time with my vision, like, actually
that's true.
bad.
You're not walking around.
But I was gonna say, I find it interesting that you don't think that's a great representation, because I thought it was pretty accurate. But then I'm like, maybe it's not, and I just don't like go around blind enough.
They just like added a weird like wobbliness to the vision. It's like,
yeah,
your vision,
like
your
a
vision
steady
is
cam, like weird.
Well, it was almost like there was a waviness to his vision, which I'm like, that's not really. It's like, it's just out of focus, guys. That's all it is. It's out of focus. That's it.
Yeah, I guess I kind of just took the waviness as the cars going very fast.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, also, this is coming from a person who has had decent vision for 7+ years at this point, so I guess take that with a grain of salt. But anyway, I did.
Yeah, no, it is an interesting thing. I stand by what I said, that I wouldn't be able to cross the street like that, whether I was blind or not. But I did literally say to Kyle as we were watching, like, yeah, I wouldn't be able to cross that road with my blindness. So that's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
here we are.
We made it to the end of our conversation.
Oh gosh, we're so bad at this, Becca. We really need to have some kind of outro.
Outro?
An outro, like, isn't
intro,
that what it...
outro?
You've never heard the term outro before,
I
Becca?
have not, and I don't like it.
Oh man, that's a real word. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'm not, because it is a very uncomfortable word.
No, it's not. It's fine. That's a perfectly normal word.
If you insist. But no, this was another good
Yeah.
Good one to talk about.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was on my top 20.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it ranks higher for you than it does for me, but we both had a lot to say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
It's a good one.
It's easy to talk about, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we will do this again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we will bite the bullet and bring on a guest or go on to my next movie, but
yeah,
it's a question we don't have an answer to.
We're having a hard time convincing close people in the family to even come on, frankly.
Yeah. And we're like, it's just having a conversation with us, and very few people listen. It's not.
I know. It's more for us, so it's fine. But anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Becca.
We will do this again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye, Becca.